Happy holidays! Pamela and I thought we would do something different since it's the week before Christmas. Stress is high for everyone. So we invite you to join us in some fun and merriment today as we share some of our favorite things with our favorite people, you. From tips to get you through the holidays to apps that will make your life easier. These are just a few of our favorite things, and we hope that some of them will become yours as well. All the links are in the show notes. We hope that you have a very blessed holiday season. Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas, Tara. I can't believe we get to record a Christmas podcast. Who would have thought this in the beginning?
I know. When we were getting started and we were making the list of episodes that we wanted to do, a favorite things Christmas podcast wasn't on our radar, but it sounds really fun right now.
It does sound really fun. And we need to have fun because it's the holidays and people are at the point that this is going to come out, maybe just a little bit stressed or not even knowing what it is that might be fun to do with family or in between. And we have some great suggestions today of some of our favorite things. Yay.
Yes. So we are going to have fun today, and we are going to talk about our favorite things through, I don't know, probably a dozen or more categories of things that we find to be our favorite things. And so you'll listen and you might get ideas for a lot of different things, from podcasts to life hacks. Today, we're going to cover a wide range of fun and interesting things. And to kick it off, because it's Christmas, because it's the holidays, Pamela, what is your favorite holiday movie?
Okay, that's a pretty easy one because I listen to it with my boys, like raising them. And so it is White Christmas, and it is with Rosemary Clooney and Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye and Vera Ellen. But I know almost every single line in the movie and definitely every single song. There's a song in there called Sisters. And yes, that one. Yeah, Tara's singing. But I will tell you that the fun thing about that song, so in Christmas time, we would have one of those put together Christmas trees. So this is the time when they were color coded. You had old school, the big boughs and the little boughs. So anyway, there's a point in the movie where the characters have to rescue the female characters who sang the song Sisters, and the male characters do a mock version of it. And they have these rather large fans. And so my boys from a very young age would grab the bottom bough of the tree before it was put together and sing the song and do the dance. And so now actually their families, like my 6 grandchildren, all watch it for the same purposes. They don't have trees like that anymore, but that's their family's favorite, which is just makes me really happy. Yeah.
I had never seen that movie, and I like classics, but I had never seen that movie until you had recommended it. And just, I think maybe 3-4 years ago. And now it's one of my favorites.
Oh, I
love that movie.
I know.
It's so good. And
it is so good.
Sweet and heartwarming and all of the things you want from a holiday movie.
It is. How about you, friend? What is yours?
When I think about you and I think about holiday movies, I think about our collective favorite, which is
the holiday,
Cameron Diaz and Kate Winslet and Jude Law and Jack Black.
Yeah.
That is my favorite holiday movie, even though it's not really about the holidays at all.
No,
it's more of a rom-com.
It's a rom-com. And I love Kate Winslet's character in there. And I really love the character of the movie maker, the older actor, and just his perspective on life. So I feel like there's some life lessons in there.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. But my family's favorite is probably Elf. We like to watch Elf and laugh. And for years, there's lines out of Elf that we continue to quote over and over throughout the year. And so now we've been able to obviously introduce that to my younger children, and they also love it. We're recording this a little bit early, but we're waiting to watch it after Thanksgiving because there's no Christmas music, lights, or decor allowed in our house before Thanksgiving. Controversial? Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is. However, I'm going to confess that we're recording this a little early, and I have watched a few Christmas movies.
I've put them on a list because I won't let myself until after Thanksgiving. I don't know why. Maybe because in Minnesota, for the first time in a long time, it is like November 20th when we're recording this, and there's green grass. And I am so grateful. I will take all the green grass all of the time when it's supposed to not be green grass. I will take it.
And in Montana, several weeks back, we actually had our first 8 inches of snow that stuck in the mountains.
Gross.
And everybody's going, they're going snowshoeing and hiking in Glacier Park. And it truly, I'm just going to say, Christmas in Montana is so magical. Can I just say, can I start here? Like, one of my very favorite things about Christmas in Montana is the Big Fork Christmas tree lighting and the town of Big Fork, that during the day, the elves, which is the townsfolk, it feels like a Hallmark movie, but the townsfolk come out and decorate the town, and everyone does it. And there's hot cocoa for people, and some schnapps that gets put in the adult hot cocoa by those that own those establishments. And then in the evening, it's better than any Hallmark movie because everyone comes, they have candles, the tree is lit, you sing "Oh Christmas Tree" or "We Wish You a Merry Christmas," and it's freezing, and so you're huddled around these
big fire pits.
Yeah, these fire pits. And yeah, it's magical. What do you like about Christmas in Minnesota, Tara?
I like the family time, and I don't mind snow the week of Christmas. I like living in Minnesota 9 months out of the year. Actually, yeah, really like April through December. So whatever's going to happen weather-wise leading up to the holidays is fine. I'll take no snow as long as I can because it lasts so long here. I think my favorite part is just when it is cold and there is snow, all of the twinkly lights. So all of the little twinkly lights. But otherwise, I'm just not a huge winter fan, as anyone who knows me will know.
I do know that about you. I love that already you have all the travel booked because it's important.
Yeah, all the travel's booked for Q1. I'm going a couple of places, and that mentally is just my self-care going into the winter. For those of you listeners who can relate to that, who maybe suffer from
seasonal affective disorder.
Yeah, seasonal affective disorder. That's real. It's a real thing. And it gets more intense every year, it seems. And yeah, all the travel is booked. My children also know that I hate snow. And I don't hate snow. I just do not enjoy how long winter lasts here.
Yeah.
But the other day, my daughter wakes me up, and she's 8 and she loves would you rather questions. So she wakes me up the other morning and asks, would you rather have a creepy clown, because I also hate creepy clowns, have a creepy clown that you have to sleep in your bed every night or snow every day? And I tell you what, it took me almost an hour to answer because I just really struggled. Wow. And I decided I'd have to make friends with that clown. I'd have to give him a name. I'd have to learn to love whatever trauma created that creepy clown and just love him through it, because I would not be able to handle the snow every day.
So people are probably either sitting in the middle of snow wondering what to do next. Okay, so we want to talk about some of our other favorite things.
Yes.
So I love myself a good pair of fuzzy slippers and a great snuggly blanket, and putting my feet up and lighting a candle, which my favorite is, there's one, it's not expensive and it only comes out I think around this time of the year, but it's maple pecan, like buttercream, and you just get it at Walmart. And it's not too pumpkin-y. It smells a little bit like French toast waffles. So it's just this perfect blend of magic. And then of course the classic fur. So either one of those, and then a book. So Tara, we're going to give our favorite things books.
Yeah, our favorite things books. I was just going to say my favorite cozy thing though for winter is a really good lounge set, top and bottom. Some people would call them pajamas, but they're really just loungewear that you're wearing around the house when no one's around. And yeah, I love a good lounge set, and fuzzy socks too.
Fuzzy socks. My favorite sweatshirt that you actually got me, that is a Ted Lasso sweatshirt, and it is the softest, but without being too sweaty. It's just perfect.
It's really lightweight, and it's one of those perfect sweatshirts. I was just wearing mine the other day and thinking I need a new one because I'm gonna need to get another one. We'll have to hunt down the link and put that in the show notes, because the Believe sweatshirt, if you're a Ted Lasso fan, or if you need to get a gift for a Ted Lasso fan, which is probably too late to do now before Christmas, but the Believe sweatshirt is pretty great. But yes, you were talking about favorite books.
Yeah.
This is hard. So let's do a couple categories around books. So
Okay.
I feel like you and I both have a little bit of what's called recency bias. So the latest book is always the favorite book.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
what is your favorite book you've read recently? And maybe what's your favorite book from the last year? Because if we do favorite books of all time, I'll be sitting here listing them forever.
Yes, we absolutely will. My favorite book that I read recently is Living Fearless by Jamie Winship. And he is a phenomenal writer, and he has had the most incredible life story. You can Google him and some of the stories around Living Fearless, but was a police officer recruited by the CIA, has actually been put in a role of mediating peacekeeping around the world, and has taught conflict resolution to Congress and to various leaders. But he's amazing. So that has been a really powerful read.
It sounds really good. I'll have to put that on my list.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite book that I just finished listening to, although I do have a hard copy. So I have this habit with leadership books in particular, because we do a lot of training and facilitating. If I get a book, if I like it, I'll get it in both hard copy and audio so that we can really dissect it. But Hidden Potential by Adam Grant, which just came out last month, is phenomenal. It is really phenomenal. And if you are someone who either has a growth mindset yourself, you're coaching or developing others, or you're really trying to figure out how do we develop our people, there's some information in here that I think people just need to take into consideration when they're thinking about how to train, how to teach, how to really help people learn and grow. So that would be the most recent one. I want to go back to earlier this year, though, because we also use a book in our Grounded Leadership program. And I almost don't want to say it on the podcast, but we use it all the time. And so it's Christmas. We'll give you the gift. Yeah. Soundtracks by John Acuff.
Yeah.
Is probably the stickiest book that we've read and we've recommended. And other people who read it continue to refer back to it over and over again. So Soundtracks by John Acuff, which is all about changing the inner narrative in our mind. And it's fantastic.
It is. And that word sticky is really powerful because we've used soundtracks now as a verb. Like we use it as we're speaking. You'll hear us talk about it in the podcast. We'll say it's a mindset or it's something that's ruminating in our head, and they can be powerful or they can be really toxic and really detrimental. So building those out, I love that he gave that language, and that high recommend of a read. But also I want to say that when you work through that with a group of people in the format that I think we've been able to use in Grounded Leadership, it then, I'm going to say, it becomes a recipe of your life. I've also seen how we've been able to use that and then integrate it in so much of the work that we do. Yeah.
Yeah. We've built a whole toolkit around soundtracks that people who go through Grounded Leadership get to have access to and get to use.
Yeah. Can I say my long book?
Yeah, your long book,
my yearbook. Yeah. Which I will use over and over again. This is a combination of the best of psychology and the best of theology. So if that is something that you're interested in, the book is called The Best of You. And I have used it with at least 25 coaching clients. We use a part of it in Grounded Leadership. Dr. Allison Cook is the author, Allison with one L, and every single chapter is incredibly practical. And there is an added faith piece, but it's not the only piece. So I want people to know there's so many great concepts in here for tools to live out everyday life, from friendships to boundaries to really one of the best explanations on what codependency is. She has talked about a concept called selfhood, which is brilliant. So I walk through it with many people in many different spaces. So very grateful.
You may or may not know this if you're listening, but Pamela has an ability to voraciously consume content and quickly integrate it into what she does. And that is a book I know that I need to read. It's on my list, but I haven't read it yet. I also want to give a quick, honorable mention to a book that came out this year that just wrecked me. And that is Beth Moore's memoir, All My Knotted Up Life.
Yeah.
So powerful. Just a PSA. It's a memoir and it has some real hard content in there. But if you are a Beth Moore fan, if you love her studies and you've done some work or appreciated her leadership, you might really enjoy that as well.
She was actually very integral in us connecting around her greater message. And when we first started exploring some book studies together, I'm very thankful for her as well.
Yeah, she has a special place for our relationship.
We talk about her like she's our Beth.
She's our Beth. Beth, if you're listening, we love you. She would never be listening. She would never be listening, but.
And her last name is Moore and my maiden name is Moore. And so she's my
cousin
sister.
Beth. Yeah.
Yeah. No, cousin, sister, whatever. Yeah.
Sister.
Yes,
okay. Speaking of listening, favorite podcasts. So we record a podcast, but I think anytime you do anything like this, you need to be listening to other people and what they do. And obviously we value the vehicle, the venue of a podcast. So Pamela, what are some of your favorites?
Okay. I really enjoy the Carrie Newhoff leadership podcast, the Craig Groeschel leadership podcast, also Andy Stanley leadership podcast. And then we are both lovers of That Sounds Fun with Annie F. Downs. And it just makes our lives so happy.
Yeah. Annie F. Downs is one of my favorites. You did introduce me to her, but she's living right now. By the time this airs, she'll be back in Nashville, but she's living a dream of mine, which is to live in New York for 2 months, just to go live the full New York experience. And she's chronicling that whole experience through her podcast and videos. And I love it.
Yeah. How about you, Tara?
You took a couple of mine. That Sounds Fun, Andy Stanley. I would also say Adam Grant's Rethink podcast, which just came out. I really love. And I loved Brene Brown's podcasts.
Yes.
She just did a little hint on social media that she misses it and she might be bringing one of them back. And so she had taken a break. I think it was probably for her mental health and just capacity, which I can understand. But she's thinking about bringing one of them back. And then I have probably half a dozen that I flit in and out of.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Tara knows this about me. I listen to 3 or 4 podcasts every morning as I get ready and just kind of part of my process. I get up really early. I'm like, Tara, you get up as well, but I have to slow down my roll in the morning because I wake up on. I am ready. I can change the world between 4 and 9 in the morning and often do.
Both of us. Yeah. 4 to 9 a.m. is the sweet spot of productivity.
The sweet spot. It's so good. And I will wait. Like I will finish up my day on days when I'm working for my own business. I see 10 or 11 clients a day. And so I get to 6 o'clock. I hold up my phone and I say, thank you, God, that you were in all of these meetings. And I give every person back to you. And then I go into the evening and typically just mumble.
Zone
a little bit. And so if I have a deadline, I would rather get up at 3 to do it than 4 because you will get more from me if I do that then. But when I do that, I wanted to have us transition into like favorite apps that are also kind of life hacks for us. There's some of our apps that are important. And I'm going to say that when I do get up early in the morning, my favorite app is called the Pause app. It's by a gentleman named John Eldridge, and he has a ministry called Wild at Heart. So again, if that's something that you would be interested in, but he's also written a book. So I get to talk about both. Inside the app is something called 30 Days to Resilience. And he wrote it during the time of COVID and truly has a concept that is called benevolent detachment that is life-changing. And I encourage all of my clients to listen to it. And so there's a morning and an evening app, and we'll link to this, but it's inside the Pause app called 30 Days to Resilience. I've listened through it at least 9 times. And it's really phenomenal. And it starts and ends my day in a powerful way.
I don't know if I have any apps right now that are really, actually, this isn't for me. An app that is rocking my family's world right now is called Hum by Colgate. So you can buy a Hum toothbrush for $15. It's manual. The kids believe there's technology in it. There's not. It just has the special handle that the app picks up, and it's like a game for them to brush their teeth. Because we just went to the dentist, and let's just say it wasn't a great day for the Gronhovd household, financially, mentally, emotionally. And so I thought I need some help and did a little research and found this app, and the kids are asking to brush their teeth and it requires our phone. And I guess technically it's a game, but at least their teeth are brushed. So it'll even show them like which teeth are still yellow because they maybe didn't brush well enough there. It's guessing based on the movement of the brush, but then they earn little like tokens and then get like little masks to take pictures in. It's all the app. There's nothing that they're getting that's of monetary value, but the kids love it and it feels fun. So that's my life hack.
I think that sounds absolutely amazing. And I should probably start humming.
It does mean there's a timer and you were brushing for 2 minutes, which every time I hear you're supposed to brush for 2 minutes, I'm like, it's a long time.
It's a really long time. Okay. I think there's going to be a lot of parents who are super excited about that.
Or grandparents who are like,
grandparents. Yeah. What a great gift.
$15. You just have to be able to download the app on your phone. And
which everybody can do.
So those are app hacks. What about real life hacks? What's helping you with life just in general right now, Pamela?
I will tell you that I am the one who edits these podcasts. And for me, there are probably a lot of other podcast editing tools out there, but I also do some narrations on the side. And this program called Descript, which is an application that you can download, and we do have a subscription to it, but it is life-changing because it transcribes the podcast. We can put it video and audio into it. Takes a couple minutes and gets pretty close on. And yes, there are some manual edits that I need to do, but here's the best thing. As I just said, is that it takes out ums. So I will let you know 10 years ago, this was not available and there would be no way to do this podcast in my life. And I have another podcast on my own now and just some other things that I do with editing. And this is called Descript. And it is an amazing life hack editing podcast tool. So unbelievably grateful for it. Yeah.
Okay, so you talked about technology. I'm going to talk about a technology hack that I have recently found that I love. By the way, I'm also really grateful for Descript because the first podcast we ever recorded, Pamela said it took out 300 some in a 25-minute episode, mind you, like 300 some coughs. It's probably mostly mine. So I'm very grateful. It makes us sound very polished. But the technology hack that I want to share, and I actually got this idea from a couple of clients of mine who use this, but I use the Remarkable digital notebook. And it's OneNote for handwritten notes. So it's a digital notebook. It writes like a real pen. It saves. I can email notes. Technically, it translates into text. I haven't found a lot of luck with that because I'm a Gen Xer and I have a hybrid handwriting between cursive and printing, and it doesn't pick that up very well. But it has been great. I have been using way less paper. I feel way less overwhelmed. I can find my notes in a second. I love it. And I know a couple of clients and friends who've bought it since I started using it. So we'll put a link to that in the show notes as well if anyone's interested in checking out the Remarkable. It's the Remarkable 2 now. How about offline hacks, Pamela?
Yeah. So for me, in my kind of rhythm of life, I'm an introvert. And because I talk to people most of the day, I could completely isolate, which isn't super good or healthy. And so for me, I have made some intentional gathering times that are more for me during the midweek with people. And for some people, they attend a faith community on Sundays. I oftentimes end up, quote unquote, working. I'll either be speaking or leading some music. And so that's not as refreshing for me. So my life hack has actually been Wednesday night gathering at one of our local faith communities in Kalispell. And I adore it. It is the best thing because I have 10 or 11 clients on Tuesday, Wednesday, and knowing that for me, music is really uplifting. And when I get to sing along, I feel like I'm lifting off things to a God who can take them from me. I don't just live with an I hope so mentality, but I turn things over to the hope. And so on Wednesday nights, I get to do that. And I didn't have that rhythm in my life prior to this year. And it has been this greatest midweek hack for me. I wouldn't say even hack. It's just been this huge blessing, and it gives me the energy to go for my next couple of days, which is just awesome. So that's not everybody's rhythm, but I have found that is really powerful for me. So if your community has that, you should check it out.
Yeah. We are in a different phase of life with little kids, and we try and keep activities to one night a week. And we know that the time is short on our ability to keep it to one night a week. HelloFresh. And it's been fantastic. By the way, I've got 5 billion meals to give away if anyone wants to try it, because every time you do it, they give you more to try. So email me if you know me, and I'm happy to send you a code or something. But we do 3 meals a week, and that is plenty for us to get. We get 3 weeknight meals and a couple of lunches for my husband, who really likes leftovers for lunches. And that has saved us. It doesn't seem at the beginning like it's going to save you money, but it has saved money because we're not buying all the different ingredients, because it comes with everything you need. But you're still cooking, and I like cooking, and it feels like I'm feeding my family, but I didn't have to do any of the thinking or the shopping or anything. And it just shows up at your door once a week, and it's great.
Okay. So I want a code.
Yeah, I'll get you one for sure.
Yay. Merry Christmas to me.
Merry Christmas to Pamela. Speaking of Merry Christmas, favorite gift or gift ideas? I've got one that I want to share. So those of you listening might know, because we've mentioned it maybe just once or twice, but Pamela is now an author and has written 2 different kinds of books. So she wrote the Linger series, which is a soul care journal. And you've got 3 different journals, one for women, one for men, and one that's more maybe a simplified version.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. And I think what's unique, those of you who really enjoy listening to Pamela and her voice, is there's a QR code, and she will read for you every day. So I think that's really cool thing that comes with the book. But you also came out with a book that is my favorite thing this holiday season, and it's called Make Good Choices. And it's in the spirit of Shel Silverstein, of a children's book that's really for adults.
Yeah, it is.
And I think adults will get just as much out of this, if not more. But my kids just listened to it last week, and I just literally let Pamela read it. So there's a QR code. I hit play and I turned the pages, and we were all listening and reading through the book together. And my 8-year-old said, "That was really good. Pamela wrote that?"
You're Pamela?
You're Pamela? I'm like, yes. And it's beautiful. Can you tell us just a little bit about, because this is the first of a series.
It is.
So people can get ready for more. So tell us about the series and what this is a part of.
Yeah. So the series is called Sticky Stories. And so they are sticky stories, are short stories that help us get unstuck from former chapters so that we can live out the chapters yet to be written. Obviously, adults will connect more with that, but it's written in a format from a mentor teacher speaking to a mentee student. So it connects with everyone. And the illustrations are done by my daughter-in-law, and she does an amazing job with them. And we actually had an illustrator. My sister-in-law's mom illustrates for Amelia Bedelia. And yeah, so she actually consulted with me on what format would be best for this. And then I also have a clinic manager, a licensed therapist that I work with, and they really encouraged me to keep it black and white. So Sticky Stories is a play on the fact that the illustrations are done in a modified version of stick figures. They're beautiful, but so they really do a great job of telling the story. And the series is going to keep that format all the way through, which makes it accessible for classrooms and for counseling spaces and for adult spaces, really. And I already have the second one written and really excited. It'll come out after the first of the year, but they're available on Amazon, and you can look up Make Good Choices by Pamela Nelson. And there will be 5 in this series. And then there'll be another series coming that are sticky stories of faith. And we have used it in some of our teaching spaces, and it's another way to talk about good communication. And Make Good Choices was something that I told my boys as they left the house every day when they were younger. And now my grandchildren, when I leave the house, they say, "Make good choices, Grandma."
Love it.
Yeah.
If you are looking for a quick, perfect gift for, I would say just about anything, but whether it's Christmas or a birthday or graduation or whatever it is, I think these make really great gifts. And do you want to tell them what the name of the next one is? Or do we want to wait?
I'm going to say stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Yeah,
it's really good.
It's really good. It's really good. And a lot of people are going to connect with the next one. So
yeah. I thought the first one was good, and then heard a snippet of the next one, and I was already chomping at the bit. So
yay,
really
thank you. I'm excited about it.
So we probably should need to wrap up, but Pamela, so we're going through the holidays. They're not always fun for everyone. Even when they are something we look forward to, we can be disappointed. Sometimes it takes more energy than it brings.
Yeah.
And by the end of Christmas, that holiday week between Christmas and New Year's, everyone's wandering around, can't remember what date it is, maybe overwhelmed with family stress. But what's your favorite maybe tip or hack on how to de-stress and maybe self-care either through or after this time?
Yeah, perspective is going to be a really big word for the holidays and for each gathering that you have. The expectations that you have in your mind, either spoken or unspoken, it's really powerful to journal. And if you can even recognize what expectations are in yourself and then say, where can I gain a new perspective on what this holiday could look like, especially if you've had some changes in your family, the dynamic over these last couple of years, people experience the first holiday without some people, or a family has had a fracture in it, or you can't, because of whatever reason, be with certain people during the holidays. And so that perspective of being curious of where can I find something to really be joyful, to be thankful about, the littlest of things, the person that you may get to spend the holidays with you couldn't have because of this time, or even some individual time that may be away from your blood family, but you get to have family time potentially with some other people. And I get it. We will need to grieve those things that we don't have. And journaling is a great way to do that. And we'll have some things. I'm actually writing up a grief worksheet. And so we will have this at the time of this to be able to process some of those harder things that happen with the holidays. But at this time, having the curiosity to say, what is a perspective that could literally shine a light on something amazing this holiday that I wouldn't see if I chose to maybe stay in more of a victim mentality. And it can be really powerful and filled with joy and filled with wonder if we choose to focus our eyes there. This make good choices is a concept that flows over into the holidays.
Yeah, I love that. That perspective is so important. And it's important to remember that we choose our perspective each day, right? We wake up and get to choose the perspective. And I caught myself just this morning thinking about something and realizing that happens 10% of the time, but 90% of the time, this thing is actually pretty good. And why am I not celebrating and grateful for the 90%?
Yeah.
Instead of wanting or needing an ideal, which I think the holidays suffer from ideal burnout. So part of our burnout is that we have this ideal in our head of what things should be or could be or are supposed to be.
Yeah.
Instead of allowing things to be what they are and finding the good in there. And my self-care, we talked about at the very beginning as an Enneagram 7, it's to have the next plan. So the holidays are fun and they're stressful, and having things that are fun to look forward to help me just remember that I'm not stuck in any sort of stressful situation, that things will move through, and that we can choose a perspective now and look forward to something to come.
Yeah. And I will say for the introverts out there, I will give you a beautiful way to say no. My heart says yes, but my schedule says no, or my calendar says no. So my heart says yes, but my calendar says no. And you may have yourself on the calendar. You don't have to explain what's on the calendar. So there's a saying from a therapist, Jim Kress. He says, children explain, adults inform. So you're an adult. You don't have to explain. You can just inform, and you can say something very kindly. My heart says yes, but my schedule says no. And introvert, go find your book or your blanket or your tub or whatever it is. But self-care is attending to what you need, especially at the holidays.
I love that. My heart says yes. My schedule says no. Someone's going to need to hear that. Someone's hearing that right now and saying, I am using that tomorrow. Today with the in-laws. Oh, thank you, Pamela. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
One of my favorite things of 2023 has been that we've gotten to do this podcast together and had this opportunity to work so closely together. And I'm just grateful that God continues to bring us together to do work.
I totally agree. We are honored to do the work that we do, and to just think that so many years ago, us being introduced would lead to this, we could have never imagined.
No, we would never would have imagined. And we're grateful for you, our listeners.
Yes.
Thank you for listening. Thanks for listening all the way to the end of this episode. Would love to hear which of our favorite things, if you pursue, read, check them out, what you think. Let us know. And we look forward to bringing you even more engaging conversations in 2024.